Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some very spicy battles in the Open Master League featuring a perfect IV level 51 Articuno. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, Articuno at level 51 gets the 3491 CP, so not even breaking 3500 CP, it definitely has its work cut out for it. This trainer is going to pair it up with a Dialga lead and a Ho-Oh in the back. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out maxed out Articuno in the Open Master League. Hopping into the first match, and we've got a mirror lead, Dialga versus Dialga. And it looks like neither Dialga is best buddied, so this will be an even matchup. This Dialga does have the best buddy ribbon, but it's actually going to be equipped onto the Articuno for these battles, so the Articuno will be the one at level 51. The Dialgas are going to trade Iron Heads here. We're going to see dueling no shields. It's going to come down to a race, and we see a 1 HP survive. In comes Giratina, and Giratina definitely did not expect to see this. In comes level 51 Articuno. Articuno is going to be committing the shield as Giratina goes for the Shadow Ball. Now Articuno will be able to farm up. In the back, opponent has Lugia, and once their Dialga is out of the way, they are core broken by the XL Articuno. Articuno is going to land the Icy Wind debuff and then send in Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh very happy that it's going up against the debuff Lugia and not against the Giratina. Sacred Fire into the Lugia will leave its mark and get a second attack debuff as well. So the Lugia firing off a double debuffed Aero Blast. Ho-Oh able to tank and get the farm down. Back in comes Giratina, and at this point, if you're Ho-Oh, you just go for the Sacred Fire. This is their last Mon. You're hoping for shields and hoping for debuffs, and there is the debuff. Farming up and making it to the Brave Bird here. This Brave Bird is going to hurt. Opponent commits the shield, and even better, it's a CMP tie. That is incredibly good, as now you can just send in the Articuno, and Articuno can finish the fight. Articuno going for the Icy Wind into the Giratina. Giratina firing off a charge move. This is double debuffed. Articuno can tank it, but hey, may as well shield since you can't take your shields with you. And Articuno secures the win. Moving into the next match, picking up a pretty decent lead, Dialga into Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a bit awkward for the backline just due to how quickly it gets the charge moves, so it's honestly not bad to see versus the Dialga. Opponent is going to farm up to the back-to-back side strikes, and we see the immediate shield from the Dialga. Mewtwo fires off the Shadow Ball, so they are not running Focus Blast. Mewtwo farms up to a second Shadow Ball, and we'll see an immediate no shield from the Dialga. Dialga would go over 100 if it tries to farm down, so Dialga is just going to farm to the back-to-back Iron Heads, and the opponent at this point, knowing they have two, should just let this through. Opponent is going to let that go. In comes Lugia. Dialga makes it to the last second Draco Meteor, and Draco Meteor is going to hurt. Lugia lets that through. We see a switch into Ho-Oh, and Lugia staying in this matchup. Lugia will be able to outpace by a singular turn, making it to the Aero Blast, and we see a shield from the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh now down 0 shields to 2. This is going to be a bit tough. Going for the 0 bubble Sacred Fire here into the Lugia. Lugia commits the shield. We see a switch into Rayquaza, and Rayquaza, definitely a Pokemon you want to see if you have Articuno in the back, with the exception of if it happens to be running Ancient Power, as Ancient Power would absolutely destroy the poor Articuno. Sacred Fire gets a debuff and a shield, but Rayquaza gets the farm down. Do you try and catch onto the Dialga here? Thinking about it, gonna send in Articuno, goes for the catch, but no such luck. It all comes down to this. What is that secondary charge move here? No shields remaining for the Articuno. It's a Hurricane. Articuno able to hang on, fully farmed down, and that will be game over. Opponent brings in the low health Lugia, but with no shields remaining, there is nothing stopping Articuno from getting the win. Nightmare lead in the next match, Dialga into Excadrill. Exca can hit the entire team for either super effective or double super effective damage, so this is basically just going to be game over before it even starts. Exca fires off the Drill Run, that does massive damage, gonna bank energy and send in Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh will be met with the Rock Slide from the Exca. We see the immediate shield. Ho-Oh continuing to farm. Opponent is gonna switch out and they send in Haxorus. Haxorus winning CMP with the Breaking Swipe as Ho-Oh goes for the Sacred Fire. Breaking Swipe will of course get the debuff here, so Haxorus will be able to tank this damage better. But Haxorus going to commit the shield. They want to get more debuffs before they end up, oh my goodness, they try and CMP again, but Ho-Oh, learning from last time, gets an entire Incinerate for free. Ho-Oh farming up, and again going for the Sacred Fire here, not wanting to Brave Bird just yet. Sacred Fire will be no-shielded by the Haxorus. Haxorus farming up, and we see a switch and a catch onto Dialga, saving energy on the Ho-Oh, but man, getting rid of that Exca is still going to be extremely difficult. Waiting the timer here, and now in comes Articuno. Articuno looking for the Ice Shard down, but Haxorus has energy, going to be able to get chip damage and a debuff from Breaking Swipe. Aggressive switch into the Excadrill. Exca will be outpaced by the Articuno. Articuno going for the Icy Wind here. We get a shield from the Excadrill, continuing to farm up with the Articuno, and at this point they are very close to the back-to-back moves. Committing the shield on the rock slide, switch into the Ho-Oh, and a beautiful snipe, taking advantage of the energy that was stored earlier. Exca gets KO'd. In comes that Haxorus. It's a simul KO in the back. They have a Togekiss, and the opponent concedes a match. Picking up a pretty nice lead in the next match, Dialga into Lugia. Immediate save switch into Articuno to check for any anti-flyers, and the opponent is going to respond with Dialga. Dialga farming up here as Articuno will fire off its first Icy Wind. This will hit for neutral damage onto the Dialga, continuing to farm up with the Articuno. Articuno committing the shield as Iron Head would hit for massive super effective damage even when debuffed. Articuno massively overfarming here. Dialga makes it to another Iron Head, and we see the double shield, the full commit to the Articuno, trying to get rid of Dialga. Articuno firing off the Icy Wind. We see the no shield from the Dialga. Articuno will get the farm down, giving up both shields, but winning switch advantage. In comes Lugia. Articuno at 2 more Icy Winds here, looking to apply some pressure and some debuffs onto the Lugia. Lugia is going to let the first one through, going for Icy Wind number 2. As Lugia attempted to shield here, Lugia is going to let this go. Articuno trying to make it to another Icy Wind, but falls just short. They're very debuffed here. In comes Dialga. Opponent is going to send out Groudon, and Groudon, not in a good matchup, but up 2 shields. Groudon is quite scary. Groudon will fire off Precipice Blade. That is single resisted, and that does so much damage. Ho-Oh going for the Sacred Fire here, looking for a potential attack drop. Sacred Fire does get shielded, and we do see the attack drop. That is absolutely massive. A second Precipice Blades is now not going to be enough to KO. Ho-Oh able to withstand the damage and make it to another Sacred Fire here. Can we see another debuff? Groudon forced to burn the last shield. We do not see a debuff. In comes Lugia, opponent with a combo play to deny any energy on that Ho-Oh. We do see a boost from the Lugia. Dialga going for the farm down. Dialga can't quite get the farm down as Lugia with 1 HP makes the boosted Sky Attack, but that will not KO. Dialga leaves with the Iron Head and wins CMP over the Groudon here. Groudon saved energy, but it's not gonna matter as Dialga gets the win. Picking up a positive lead in the next match, Dialga into Shadow Dragonite. Now, when I see Dragonite leads, I typically think Excadrill and Metagross as the Pokemon in the back. Dragonite gonna stay in here. They're only gonna make it to 1 move since they're Shadow, so they're going to actually bait with the Dragon Claw, save switch into Excadrill, and as we've seen, Exca is such a problem spot for this team. Going for the Draco Meteor, Exca commits the shield, and now we're going to see a switch into Articuno. Articuno farming up. This is a double super effective Rock Slide, commits the shield, and gonna try and make it to the Icy Wind, but gets outpaced by a single turn. That is quite unfortunate. Rock Slide deals massive damage. Articuno immediately firing off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind will hit for neutral here. Exca is going to let that through. Exca continuing to farm. They're firing off another Rock Slide. But honestly, Articuno did a pretty good job at getting the Exca low, and that's what this team needs. Just try and survive the Exca if at all possible. Going to wait the clock. Send in Dialga. Dialga gets the farm down. No second charge move for the Exca. In comes Metagross, farming up with the Dialga, full sending the Draco here. This will apply a lot of resisted damage. We do see a no shield from the Metagross. In comes Ho-Oh, and Metagross fires off the charge move. They go for the Meteor Mash. That is resisted. Opponent sends in the Dragonite. Dragonite into the red health, but applying a lot of pressure onto the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh should be able to tank this Dragon Claw, but not well. Ho-Oh makes it to the Sacred Fire here. Sacred Fire will be lethal. Does the opponent want to shield the Dragonite? Yes, they do. Dragonite gets debuffed, gets the farm down. In comes Dialga. Dialga gets the farm down. It's going to be a race. Who can farm down first? And it's Dialga taking the win. Picking up another favorable lead in the next match, leading Dialga into Giratina Origin. Opponent is going to save switch into Togekiss, which will be answered with the level 51 Articuno. Articuno overfarming slightly and going for the Ancient Power. The uncomfortable thing about this matchup will be that Togekiss also has access to Ancient Power. Double super effective damage, not what Articuno is wanting. So Articuno is going to commit the shield and fully commit to the Ice Shard farm down. If the opponent sends back in the Giratina, Giratina's not going to have a particularly fun time either. In comes the Giratina. We're going to see a massive overfarm by the Articuno, nearly at the back-to-back Icy Winds. Icy Wind will be no-shielded by the opponent and going for Icy Wind number 2. Able to get there before the opponent makes the Shadow Ball. That's going to get the Giratina extremely low. Opponent is now going to send in a Melmetal. But honestly, they should have brought in the Melmetal into the loaded Articuno, because now they're just relying on Melmetal to basically 1v3 here. Although considering what's left on the team, Melmetal might be able to do that with this much energy. The Melmetal is going to be heavily debuffed, which is good due to these double Icy Winds, but Melmetal is what the opponent is going to want to deal with the Ho-Oh and Dialga core. Ho-Oh is going to get the Incinerate through. Let's see how much a double debuffed Rock Slide does. Ho-Oh actually able to tank 2, and the opponent throws on alignment, giving Ho-Oh an extra Incinerate. Rock Slide is going to connect. We see the combo play into the Giratina. Ho-Oh commits the shield on the Ominous Wind. We're going to see a switch into Dialga. Dialga gets the farm down. But now, Melmetal is going to have to heavily debuff itself with 2 superpowers to get rid of the Dialga. And they're just running out of HP. They're not going to have enough HP to win this game. Going for the superpower. Dialga tanks it. They cannot get to enough moves. And that's game over. We see a mirror lead again in the next match, Dialga versus Dialga. Thankfully, the opponent's Dialga does not have the best buddy boost equipped either, so this is going to be a very neutral matchup. Farming up to the Draco Meteor and winning the CMP tie coin flip over the opponent. Draco Meteor will be shielded, and at this point, I think he just let this go. Yeah, I really like this no shield. Opponent goes for the Iron Head. We're now going to see a pivot into Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh going to look for the 1 shield farm down play. Ho-Oh farming up. Man, this Dialga is loaded. We see the shield. It's the Draco Meteor, and now you can just farm down. Opponent sends in Giratina, but it's a 100 energy Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh fires off the Sacred Fire. We do not see the debuff. Ho-Oh farming up a ton of energy here. Tried to go for the Sacred Fire, but great charge move timing from the Giratina. Giratina goes for the Shadow Ball. That is going to KO, and now it's up to Articuno. Articuno is going to need to commit the shield here, as even a neutral Shadow Ball will do a lot of damage. This Pokemon does not even get to 3,500 CP. Articuno farming up and firing off the last second Icy Wind just before they make it to the Shadow Ball. Icy Wind will be shielded. We see a switch into Dialga and a beautiful catch. Now the question is, can Articuno sweep in the endgame here? In the back, it's Lugia, and I think Lugia is just too bulky for Articuno to sweep. Articuno will be able to get multiple debuffs here, but this is where we're going to see the difference in stat product, whereas Lugia just has a massive stat product compared to Articuno's. So Articuno will be able to hit for super effective damage, but it's not going to be enough, as Lugia does have the Sky Attack here. So Lugia can tank the Icy Wind, make the Sky Attack, and unfortunately for Articuno, the bulky Lugia is just a bit too much to handle. Hopping into the final match, and we see a tricky lead, Dialga into Zacion. Zacion, especially if it's on the double nukes moveset, which it typically is with Quick Attack, is a problem for this team, as it can hit the entire team for super effective damage. Dialga will commit the shield, as Zacion does go for the close combat. Dialga over farming quite a lot and playing to the CMP tie, as Zacion goes for close combat number 2. Zacion is debuffed, they have to shield, but Zacion will be able to grab the second shield back from the Dialga. Close combat wouldn't KO the Dialga from here, but it would do a lot. We see a pivot into Articuno, and Articuno with no shields left will just have to tank this super effective Wild Charge. Wild Charge deals massive damage. Opponent now going to send Dialga, and Articuno will immediately fire off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind connects onto the Dialga. Dialga looking for the farm down. Articuno, thanks to that best buddy ribbon, able to make the last second Icy Wind on 1 HP and get some nice chip damage onto the Dialga. In comes Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh, no shields left, but thanks to those 2 debuffs, should be able to tank this Draco Meteor pretty comfortably. They go for the Draco. Ho-Oh able to withstand it. Honestly, I wouldn't say that was super comfortably, but just can't get the farm down. They're going to make the quad debuffed Iron Head, but Ho-Oh is able to withstand. Opponent still has that low health Zacion and their final Pokemon, and the final Mon is Zarude. Zarude has absolutely nowhere to run versus this team. Sacred Fire deals massive damage, and we see a switch back into the Dialga. Dialga firing off the Iron Head. Iron Head is going to grab the final shield. Zacion needs the perfect overfarm to win, and they're firing off their close combat. Close combat is going to be enough to KO the Dialga. In comes the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh makes it to the Brave Bird, and that will be getting rid of the Zacion. There's still going to be the Zarude. It's a race, and Zarude cannot Vine Whip down, and that's a good game. All in all, it's awesome to see people running some spicy picks in the Open Master League. It's definitely the most difficult league to build spice for, just due to the absolutely massive cost with everything needing to be level 50. And Articuno, definitely not a Pokemon that I'd recommend for climbing in the Open Master League, but it could be a really fun option if Niantic ever decides to release a Master League Remix Cup. As people continue to get more and more picks built for the Master League, I think it could be a fun idea, especially if it runs alongside, let's say, a Master Premier Cup, where they have like an Open Master Remix, where let's say they ban like Dialga, Zacion, some of these more common picks, and let some of the lower CP legendaries, like for example Articuno, have a moment to shine. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.